Hey, this is Matt once again. What about in the video? This is another paid request this time for Walker. And it's going to be a bit of a different video because sadly I screwed up. But Walker wanted me to react to a Cody Leach video, 31 on 31 Action Edition, 7 Action franchises ranked. I did at first, and then I went a bit cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs crazy, which I'll get into in a few minutes. But for those who want to request any type of reactions or topics, reviews, re-reviews, what have you, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. I also have a second YouTube channel as well as other. I have another Odysee. I have an Odysee channel that has some of my older videos. All those links are down below in the info box. I had to react to this video at first, where he takes seven action franchises. Cody Leach, or as I call him, Danny McBride. I mean that in a nice way. And, seems like a cool guy. Like he says, all these lists are to subjective opinion. So what he did was he took 7 franchises. He took Rambo, he took Bad Boys, he took Bourne films, Bourne Identity. He took Die Hard, John Wick, Lethal Weapon. All those films and ranked them from 31 to 1. Now, like you say, it goes into subjective opinion. He got to 31. Good to Die Hard. Made sense because that's a film I wanted to like. I wanted to not hate a Die Hard film. I really did not want to hate a Die Hard film. So when I saw it in the theater, I gave it a free pass. Then when I saw it at home, I went, yeah, this is actually pretty terrible. They're borrowing dialogue from Live Free or Die Hard. For crying out loud, like they're literally stealing from that movie to put into this movie. Half the dialogue didn't make sense. Why are you saying I'm on vacation when you're here to rescue your son? Because your son's in danger. The villains are pretty elite. John Moore, the director of Max Payne with Mark Wahlberg, Marky Mark and his Funky Bunch. Horrible choice for director. He did not know how to direct action scenes. There seemed like some nice spectacle, so it didn't. I don't think it looked like a direct-to-video film in terms of it has a spectacle of a big-budget film, but the way it's directed and edited, it just wasn't the best. It's not the worst film I've seen, meaning I'll watch it over Alien 3, I'll watch over The Last Jedi. They didn't kill off John McClane and do anything of that egregious. It's just a pretty lame sequel in a franchise where I love the previous films. So number 31, I understand. Then he got to number 30, and it's Rambo First Blood Part 2, and I lost my mind. I lost my mind, and I went there and went, you know what? It's his opinion. And that's why I wanted to redo this. It's his opinion. We all have different opinions. My friend Michael CP, I think he gave Rambo 2 3 out of 5 stars. I heartily disagree. Just Rambo First Blood Part 2 is one of my personal favorite films of all time. It's to be one of the pinnacle action films of the 80s. I don't like the word cheese, which Cody Leach uses. I hate the word cheese. I think cheese is one of the most overused words in terms of action films and other type of films. Because I think it's an overused word. To me, it means nothing. If it's cheese on a taco, if it's cheese on a pizza, then it means something. Cheese for a movie, unless you're talking about maybe a Troll 2, like Samurai Cop, I can understand, but I think it's a term that gets overused. And Rambo First Blood Part 2, I disagree with his assessment. I don't think there's too much gloss on it. He kind of made fun of that Murdoch who come to get you. I don't understand that. I don't understand what's so bad about that. I think it's badass. I think it being pure 80s is a benefit. He mentions he prefers the more down and gritty. But then he puts Rambo Last Blood like much higher on the list. And that film I think is a pile of donkey dick and shit. So I wholeheartedly disagree with him on Rambo Last Blood. Just I wholeheartedly disagree with Rambo 2 being this low. And I get it, it's his opinion. I just wholeheartedly 100% disagree on his opinion. Especially when you look at, like, I mean, the next one is Jason Bourne, the fourth film at number 29. That's a film that I don't remember much of anybody liking. Like Rambo 2 with the C-42 explosive arrows and helicopter gunships and that great speech at the end. And then Jason Bourne, isn't it like all the Bourne films where it's filmed like this? Like, this is the Bourne films. Like, this is all the action scenes. And I hate the Bourne films. I hate the Bourne identity. All of them, I think they suck. They're all the same film, again and again and again, including the Bourne. They're all the same film. I mean, Bourne Ultimate, like, I can't tell them apart. You Jason Bourne, he's looking for this. People chase him. To me, there's not much difference between any of the Bourne films. I don't buy Matt Damon as an action star. I think he's a good actor. I don't buy him as an action star. I'm sorry. I'd buy Tom Cruise, but Matt Damon just... Matt Damon. I just don't buy as an action star. I'm sorry. I just don't. I buy Ryan Gosling more. He's a good actor. I don't think he's a good action star. The fight scenes are poorly edited and filmed. They're poorly filmed. I'm sorry. Filming a fight scene like this, you know, it's not a well filmed action sequence. And I'm sorry, I do not think Jason Bourne is better than Rambo First Blood Part 2. Number 28, Mission Impossible 2. I'm sorry, I do not think Mission Impossible 2 is better than Rambo 2. That's just my opinion. Rambo 3 is number 27, so I'm sitting there going, so of this 31 to 1, 2 Rambo films are in the bottom 4. Because it's Die Hard 5, Rambo 2, Jason Bourne, you know, the fourth one, and then Rambo 3. So again, 2 of my favorites of the franchise are near the bottom of the list. Now, right, he didn't say he hated them, to be fair. He wasn't like, this is a piece of shit. So, granted. And even if he did, I get it. It's his opinion. I wholeheartedly disagree. I think Rambo 3 is a badass action movie. Has kick-ass action. Like, that's what you want in an action movie. Spectacle, excitement, thrills. All done for real in camera. Badass hero. The villains could need a bit of work. I love Richard Crenna in it. Wonderful score by Jerry Goldsmith. You know, someone mentioned in a comment about the politics. Yeah, at the time, the Russians were the bad guys, and they were overtaking the Afghani warriors. They were not the Taliban of today. That's like getting mad at people in Germany because of what happened in World War II. No, the Germans of today are not the Germans in World War II era. You gotta look at placement in history and time. Plus, all the Rambo films dealt with something. Coming back from Vietnam, or being thrown away from the Vietnam War, and rescuing the POWs, and they all had a good meaning to them. So I'm sorry, I don't think Rambo 3 deserves to be that low. The Bourne Legacy, number 26, with Jeremy Renner. That's a film like no one remembers existed. The Bourne Supremacy, number 25. I don't like the Bourne films. I don't think any of them are better than the Rambo films. Especially Rambo 2 and 3. Rambo First Blood Part 2 is my favorite of the franchise. So I disagree. Lethal Weapon 3 is number 24. So he thinks that's the worst Lethal Weapon film. I disagree. I think you have great chemistry with the lead characters. I think the bit with Danny Glover and his son's friend and the gun, I think he has some nice, decent emotional bits with Danny Glover. It was Rene Russo was a nice addition. He has Lethal Weapon 4 a lot higher, and I disagree because I don't hate Lethal Weapon 4 like I used to, but you can tell that Mel Gibson and Danny Glover just like they say, they're too old for this shit. And you tell that in terms of the action scenes of... Although it has a cool car chase. Yeah, it's nice to see Jet Li in there, but you also have like put him either some wire work. Like there's a bit when he first sees the group. It's an obvious wire work where you almost see him grabbing the wire to grab the gun and come back up, and I think that's done in slow motion. Like when Jet Li goes to get the gun, you see him grab this because it's the wire. You could clearly see that. I think he shows that in the Lethal Weapon 4 bit. Yeah, the villain is not the best, but I think the way the characters interact with each other worked very well within that movie. And it still has some solid action scenes and stuff. Number 23, The First Mission Possible. That's actually one of my favorite entries. Number 22, Die Hard 2. See, I don't understand him saying that, well, it's a good movie. I did. He doesn't. The only one he says was a bad movie was Die Hard 5. The other films he thinks are good to great. But his complaint of Die Hard 2 is it's similar to the first. And he does admit that, yes, there is some meta bits of it, but he says it's similar to the first. But what do you think every Bourne Identity film is? I think the Bourne Identity films are more similar to each other than Die Hard 2 is to Die Hard 1. Because you have the whole airplane bits and the action scenes and the villains. Like Die Hard 2 is more different to Die Hard 1 than the Bourne Identity films are different to each other. That's the way I look at it. But that's just my opinion, my viewpoint of that. I never knew for the longest time that Die Hard 2 got so much crap, but Die Hard 2 is very underrated. And then Rambo Last Blood is number 21. That should be near the bottom of the list. And he mentions the extended cut is so much better. All it is 10 minutes at the beginning of Rambo in a cowboy hat by a river. Someone goes in, they're not saved or whatever. Saved, not saved, whatever the hell happened. That's all that happens. It doesn't add anything to Rambo's character. Does it add anything to the proceedings? Does it add anything to the story? There's a reason it was cut out in the first place. Rambo Last Blood is a Rambo film that's not a Rambo film. Just Rambo's not in it. He doesn't look like Rambo. He doesn't talk like Rambo. He talks too much. He makes incredibly dumb decisions, like walk into an obvious trap with a bunch of bad guys and having no plan, which in all the other films he had a plan and would sneak in. The gore in the third act even got a bit goofy for me, where it was like Jason Voorhees, Kano, ripping out. Even I'm like, okay, this is like Mortal Kombat Rambo, which he was in Mortal Kombat eventually. Even I'm like, this is getting a bit much. But I mean, I love Rambo too, and that gets a bit much. But you know what? I could deal with that finale if the rest of the movie was worth a shit. I'd have no complaints about the finale if the rest of the movie wasn't boring as hell, with an unlikable that girl character that was his niece or whatever. Rambo 4 number 20 I think is too low. Because he's saying Rambo 4, Lethal Weapon 4 is better than Rambo 4? I don't agree with that at all. There's no way I can say Lethal Weapon 4 is better than Rambo 4. So I think Rambo 4 is too low. Bad Boys 2, number 19. I like Bad Boys 2. I actually think that's the best of the Bad Boys movies. Because you have the crazy insanity, absolutely insanity of the action and the style. Is Michael Bay unleashed, turned up to 15, and it's kind of a wonder to behold. And I love it for that. Bad Boys 2 I saw twice in the theater, was a visceral ride. Lethal Weapon 4 number 18, I'm sorry, man. I think Bad Boys 2 is better. See, if you watch the video at 25 minutes and let me get the right time, 45 seconds, you like see Jet Li reaching for the gun and his hand is like this because he's grabbing on the wire. So it takes me out of the scene. And the fight scene, I don't even buy Mel Gibson, Danny Glover beating Jet Li. It just, I don't buy the fight. Yes, such as it's 2-on-1 fight because of how old, it makes sense, but I don't buy it. I don't buy Jet Li losing to these two guys. As much as I love Martin Riggs and Murtaugh, I just don't buy them defeating Jet Li. It's just, I'm sorry, I don't buy it. And I think there were too many characters. The poster itself, and I don't hate Lethal Weapon 4 like I do in back to the day. I could watch it, have fun with it. It does have some fun action sequences, but I don't know. The plot with the family that they're protecting didn't do anything for me. John Wick 3, number 17. I think that's a bit low. Bourne Identity, I disagree. I don't think Bourne Identity is better than a lot of these movies. I would put that much low on the list. John Wick, number 15. Bad Boys, the first one, number 14. Bad Boys for Life, number 13. I like Bad Boys for Life. I don't think it's the best Bad Boys movie. I think Bad Boys 1 is the funnier movie. I think Bad Boys 2 has the most insane action. Bad Boys for Life worked well. It does have some good action. It definitely has some nice emotion to it. I will admit that. It was refreshing. But I don't think it nearly has the action of the first two movies. And I don't think it's as funny as the first two movies. And the whole thing with Will Smith's son, that his character's son being, it felt a bit too Lifetime Channel, Hallmark Lifetime Channel for me. And I'm like, also, didn't this guy help kill your captain? But he gets a free pass because it's your son. I think that was kind of crappy. Like, he helped get your captain killed and murdered. But he's getting almost a free pass now? Like, come on. Oh, it's a bit too much for me. I still like the film, though. But it's my least favorite of the three. Mission Impossible Road to Nation, number 12. I like the film. I don't know if I put it that high, but I do like it. Bourne Ultimatum. Never understood the appeal for this. He pretty much went into liking the chase scene, even though he admitted, it's this fucking shit. Which sucks. It flat out sucks, in my opinion. So I'm sorry, I don't agree. Number 10, Live Free Die Hard. I was supremely impressed, surprised that he put it that high, that he really enjoyed the film. He says, well, just go watch the uncut if people complain about the PG-13. But even the uncut version, you tell that the cursing was put in ad-lib, like after the fact, looping wise. Like, you could tell, because like it's Bruce Willis back of his head, or it doesn't quite match his lips. And the blood is like a bit CGI blood, so it doesn't make a whole lot of difference. But I always loved Live Free or Die Hard. I always thought it was fun, entertaining. I do think it was weird, though, like, Die Hard's his favorite. Die Hard's number one. You'd think he would dislike this film for the same reasons he gave kind of crap to Rambo 2. Oh, it's too much gloss, it's too much superhero. So I that's kind of a weird inconsistency for me, but Rambo I don't think was really this guy's franchise. But hey, teach their own. Doesn't have to be. But I agree with a lot of his stuff in Live Free or Die Hard. Like, it has some fun bits of dialogue, entertaining action sequences. I love Die Hard 4. Still love it. Lethal Weapon 1, number 9. Seemed a bit low. Mission Impossible 3, number 8. I don't think it should be that high, but yeah, that's my opinion. I like Mission Impossible 3, but I don't think it's better than Lethal Weapon. I don't think it's better than Rambo 2 or 3. I don't think it's better than John Wick or John Wick 3. Or a lot of these other stuff. Yeah, that's just me. Or the Bad Boys trilogy. Lethal Weapon 2 I like. But I like Lethal Weapon 1 and 3 more. John Wick 2 I love. That might be my favorite John Wick film. I keep going back and forth between them. Let's see that's so high, number 6. Number 5, Mission Impossible Fall. I enjoyed it. I mean, maybe not to the extent. I do enjoy the film quite a bit. I do. I won't put a number 5 on this list, but I do think it was an exhilarating movie. I adore Die Hard with a Vengeance as number 4. Awesome sequel. Bruce Willis worked insanely well with Sam Jackson. They had electric chemistry with each other. It made it a bigger forefront for John McTiernan to play with in the Die Hard arena after making the first film. Jeremy Irons as Simon, and the whole have to solve these clues and get to these bombs, made for a fun time. I think I saw this in the theater back in the day because it came out around my birthday. I love it. Uh, I even like the ending. People complain about the ending. I like the ending. Number 3, Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. I will never understand the appeal that film has. He mentions because he likes the humor between the characters. I didn't really feel that way. I didn't really think it was as funny as I guess him and other people thought. I hated Ghost Protocol. I thought it was insanely boring. People always mention the bit with the building and jumping to the other. I'm like, okay, but what else? You keep mentioning that scene, but what else? I mean, he's even on the poster, that scene. The dust storm that looks all CGI, and I thought it was a very boring film. It's one of my least favorite Mission Impossible movies. Like, I would put, like, the first one, Fallout, Road Nation, those are up high. 3 would be after that, part 3. And then this and part 2 are, like, near the bottom. Never understood the appeal of Ghost Protocol. I always thought it was boring. Never liked it. And I don't think it's better than Lethal Weapon or Die Hard 3 or plenty of other movies, but to each their own. Number 2 is First Blood. Number 1 is Die Hard. Good choices. Die Hard is an absolute classic. Awesome fucking movie. First Blood I like, of course. I prefer Rambo 2, 3, and 4 more, but I like First Blood. But it's more of a drama than an action film. So I think that's the thing. Like, I love First Blood, but to me, again, that's more of a drama, thriller than an action film for me. So as an action film, I like Rambo 2, 3, and 4 more. But that's just me. So, I mean, it's cool they gave props to Die Hard 4. And I disagree with his assessments. I don't like the Bourne films. I don't think Rambo 2 and 3 should be that low. I don't think Mission Impossible 3 is better than Lethal Weapon. But again, if I made a list like this, you guys would disagree with a shitload of what I say, so. But I'm sorry, Walker. I wanted to redo this. I know it's not a full reaction, but when I saw Rambo 2 that low, I lost my mind and I felt bad. I'm like, you know what, let me redo this. But I pretty much summed up what my thoughts were throughout it, so that way you get the full reaction, but in a 20-some minute timeline. So it'd be less boring. But like every list, everything, it's all a matter of opinion, subjectiveness, to each their own. Cody Leach seems like a cool guy. We just disagree on action, and we have different tastes, but it's not against the law. At least not yet. With the way the world is, maybe one day it will be, but not yet. But with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.